Hi, my name is Sunshine Fulham Whiter, CEO and founder of Market Her Brand. I am super excited about our 100 Women in Business Tour. This tour is where women nationwide and globally come together to share about their product, their service, and most of all, to leave you a message that's going to be that you can use in your day-to-day life and in your business to continue to soar to the next level. We ask that you bring us your questions, any things that you're dealing with in your business, just anything that you want to even elevate or go to the next level in your business with, bring it here because we have coaches, we have people that are just inspired to see you excel. And if we don't have it in a network or an organization, then we're going to find that person that you need to connect to get to the next level. Please take time to log on to our website, marketherbrand.com. This is where you can keep track of all of our events and all the different things that we're doing to empower women in business. We don't want you to miss anything that's going on, especially in this day and time where it can be so impactful to help you to get to the next level. I'm super excited about our current speaker that is coming on tonight. Her name is Anna Bruno, and she is going to be bringing a great topic that we all can use in our business, with our money, with our finances, and just being able to grow and prosper. So if you have your notepad, your pen, your paper, anything that you use to take notes so you can be able to read on it afterwards and be able to apply it, then you definitely want to go ahead and do that. Without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic over to Anna Bruno. She's going to introduce herself, and then she's going to tell you the topic, and then she's going to speak about a topic. So again, I'm super excited to have you here again, Anna. You're one of our great speakers on a regular basis, and we love the value that you bring to the platform. Without further ado, I'm going to drop the mic over to you.
Thank you, Sunshine, very much. So excited, super excited to be here with you and with everyone who's listening. I've been in finance for over 25 years, and as they say, I've seen it all, the good, the bad, and everything else in between. So I'm going to talk about mind over money and also getting your finances on track. It's one of my last presentations that I've done recently, which I thought would be very appropriate for our audience today. I have a presentation, so let me see if I can bring up my presentation. Let's see, how do I do that? There it is. Can you see it? I just want to make sure that it's
Yes.
visible. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, so getting your finances on track and also talking about 10 sort of pillars of how do you get your finances in good order, right? And of course, it starts with your proper mindset. Mindset is everything. If you don't believe you're good with money, then you're definitely not good with money. Like if you believe that, yeah, your money is bad, man, money is a source of stress, and that's exactly what's going to be. And if you believe that money is just a tool, that's exactly what it's going to be. So oftentimes, unfortunately, depending on where we come from, where we grew up, what kind of environment we grew up in, what our parents especially taught us about finance and money, shapes our mindset and shapes our relationship with money and finance, and our belief systems as far as how well can we handle our own money and so on. Unfortunately, what I've seen in my practice is oftentimes women, especially, unfortunately, um, they they relinquish control over finances to either a partner or a spouse or somebody else. And I'm here to tell you that it's time to take control over our own finances. So the mistake number one that I again want to talk about is that having a proper mindset means letting go of your money mistakes, right? Also, it starts with forgiving yourself. Whatever you have done, whatever you didn't do, it's okay. We're humans. Like we're not perfect, and it's never too late to start. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can start in your 50s, 20s, 30s. Obviously, I do a lot of presentations. Of course, I show a lot of numbers. The younger you are, the easier it is to accumulate the wealth. And the younger you are, the sooner you start, the less you have to do to get to the same end result, and which we'll go through some slides down in a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But it is never too late. Even if you're in your 50s, it takes about 20 years for you to start seeing like some real results and to accumulate growth and wealth. So again, it's easier when it's 20 to 40, rather than 50 to 70, but it is doable and possible. And also shifting your circle of influence, right? Surrounding yourself with the right people is extremely important. Why do I say that? Because um, there is a lot of studies that they have been conducted, and it says the five people that are closest to you will shape you and your personality eventually. So it's very important we surround ourselves with people who are going to be encouraging us and supporting us in our endeavors rather than opposite of it. So I wish I would be able to like take some questions, Sunshine. I don't know if that's possible, but if there are any questions coming in, you're welcome to let me know. Step two of getting your finances on track is to have a plan. And not only we have to have a plan, but we also have to have a written plan. There's a big difference between saying in your mind, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, versus actually putting it down on piece of paper. Also, oftentimes people think about, okay, I want to retire, or I want to be wealthy, or I want to be financially free or independent, but they don't put a number to it. What exactly does that mean to you? Have you thought about what would it take for you to have a certain lifestyle? What does that lifestyle mean to you? Where do you imagine yourself retiring, for example? Will it be in the US, outside of the US? For example, we have a lot of clients who retire outside of the US because the cost of living is much cheaper, right? So, depending on what you envision for yourself, will determine what kind of plan you're going to put together. So, visualizing first, then putting a plan together is very, very important. And, in my financial planning practice, what I see is even when you do put a plan together, oftentimes, again, unfortunately, people will put the plan, they'll go to a financial planner, get a plan together, but then never act on it. Like, it literally take the book and put it on a bookshelf, and it just the book will collect dust. What good is it, right? So yes, we did all this work and you put a plan together, but we also, it's a very crucial step of financial planning to actually go through and implement the plan. And the other thing I want to mention, that when it comes to planning, you have to understand that no matter what you plan, the plan is not going to go according to the plan. The plan is not going to go according to the plan. And the reason is because whatever assumptions we make, those are just assumptions. There are no guarantees. So whatever rates of returns we assume, or um, you know oftentimes, life, throws a lot of stuff at us. We change jobs, we get married, we get divorced, we have children, we change locations, and so on and so forth. A lot of things are happening to us, and as they do, sometimes they're planned and sometimes they're unexpected. We need to be able to deal with them and handle them. And so, part of the plan is, again, when you're monitoring your plan and you're implementing your plan, is to track it, and to see if you're still on the right track in terms of accomplishing the goals that you set out for yourself to do. So, going to, let me just see. Step number three is all about spending and spending habits. And there's a question that I always ask to my students, which is, what do you think is the number one determining factor of your wealth? What do you think is going to determine how wealthy you're going to be down the road? And for those of you who are listening and you're thinking about it, I'll give you another second to think about it. But I will tell you, the number one determining factor of your wealth is not how smart you are, is not how much money you make, is not how technically savvy you are when it comes to investing, or picking the right stocks or the mutual funds. The number one determining factor of your wealth will be your savings rate. It will be at the rate in which you're saving your money, and then of course you're investing your money. So are we still on, Sunshine? I just want to make sure that we're on. So step number three will be spending less than what you earn. And also, spending less than what you earn, again, is a very, very important concept. Oftentimes, a lot of these concepts seem to be very intuitive, or very, but there, a lot of us know what to do, but unfortunately we don't do them, right? So it's basically, there is no magic to being wealthy. It's very, very simple. It's the math, and the math needs to math, right? The math needs to math, which means you have to keep track of what's coming in and what's going out. And hopefully, what's going out is less than what's coming in. So you need to spend less that you're earning, whatever you're earning. You need to get in the habit of not spending something that you don't have. Don't go on credit cards. Don't spend money you don't have. Don't go on vacations if you don't have the money. Don't buy the nice shiny bag or whatever it is that if you don't have the money. You only do those things when you have money saved aside, and you plan for it, and it's part of your budgeting. So it's very, very important for us to understand budgeting and learn how to do budgeting. So what is budgeting, right? Budgeting is the process of tracking income, subtracting expenses, and deciding how to divert the difference of your saved money toward different goals. So basically, again, as what I said, understanding what our income is, understanding how much taxes we're paying, what is our net income, net after expenses, net after taxes, which is called adjusted gross income. Then you take all your basic expenses out of it. And then whatever is left is the savings that you need to start budgeting in terms of how are you going to spend, how are you going to allocate this money. And there are many, many different budgeting tools. There are budgeting tools online, there are budgeting tools offline. Especially with the technology nowadays, it has become much, much, much easier for us to keep track of our finances and what we're doing. Um, and part of budgeting is, of course, listing out all of our debts and prioritizing them. And then when we're trying to understand our debt and prioritizing them, there are different ways to hopefully we don't, like, the first, obviously first thing is to not have debt, or if you do have debt, then we have to eliminate it. And how do we eliminate it? There are different ways to do that. We can either eliminate debt by um, consolidating it into a lowest interest type of account. Or oftentimes, let's say you have several different credit cards. Well, maybe sometimes, even if one of the credit cards has a lower interest rate that you're paying, but it's the smallest amount, psychologically or mentally, it helps to figure to think, to have that sense of accomplishment. So maybe it's only $2,000 debt on your credit card, but you, when you pay it off, it feels like something shifted, right? Like the huge stone fell off your shoulders. So different ways to approach eliminating debt or dealing with that. Ideally, you don't want to get into that in the first place, but if you do get into that, there are ways to go about working through it. Now, there are a lot of agencies who claim that they can help you with debt consolidation. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff out there that oftentimes people don't realize or understand. There are for-profit agencies that do debt consolidation, and there are non-profit agencies that actually do debt consolidation. And my recommendation always is to go with the non-profit organizations, because they actually do try to help consumers, and in terms of negotiating their debt and consolidating, as opposed to the for-profit organizations oftentimes promise a lot. Unfortunately, not oftentimes, that they're able to come through with the promises. So if there are any questions, I have a lot of information on this, and there's a lot of confusion about the debt consolidation agencies. So if there are any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I can supply you with specific information on this topic. Moving on to the next plan, track, or step number 6. Again, as I talked about different types of debt. Um, so not all debt is bad debt. There is good debt and bad debt, right? So what would be an example of good debt? When you're borrowing money, which will hopefully help you to create additional income or grow your source of wealth, that is considered a good type of debt. In what situations would that be? If you're borrowing money to start a business, for example, you're borrowing money to buy a rental house and rent this property to somebody else, Those types of debts are considered good debt. What's a bad debt? Credit card debt, any other consumer type of debt. Um, Borrowing money where you know that you don't have the means to pay it back. Oftentimes, even when you buy a house, again, oftentimes we overextend ourselves and buy a bigger house than we need to, but take on a bigger mortgage than we need to. And the good rule of thumb is when you're looking at a debt and you wanted to think about, is this a good debt or bad debt? You always ask yourself, when I'm taking this loan or if I'm borrowing this money, is this going to help me to earn more income? And if the answer is yes, then we can categorize it into the good debt category. And if the answer is no, then we definitely are going to categorize it into the bad debt category. Um, Again, being prepared for the unforeseen situations. Usually, as a financial planner, we always advise our clients to have emergency account or expense account where you have at least 3 months of expenses set aside, because you never know what could happen. Maybe your customers don't pay on time. Maybe your car breaks down. Maybe the roof on the house breaks down. Always unexpected things come up. And you need to be prepared for that, because if you aren't, that's how you get into the credit card debt in the first place. So typically 3 to 6 months of minimum operating expenses you want to have in liquid assets, which means this money has to be in some bank account, either in money market or cash, or in a very, very liquid format, because this is not the money you want to be investing in. This is the money that needs to be there safely so that you can access it in case of an unforeseen expense or operating expense or emergency situations. Um, then, okay, the next step is to have more. So to think about yourself as like all as if you are a money making machine. So all of us usually have a job, our primary source of income. We have a career, whatever that may be. We can be lawyers, doctors, teachers, and so on. We have a main primary source of income. One way to accumulate wealth is to think about income and sources of income, that there's more than one source of income for us to have. So we have our primary source of income, but then what else could we do to start getting additional sources of income? Maybe we can go get a second job or a side hustle or a consulting job. If you're good at, and playing an instrument, or you're good in math, maybe you can be a tutor or doing dog walking, little uh, a small business that you can run. Anything that you can do to create a second source of income. And the reason for this is because the idea behind it is that you want to have additional sources of income, save the money, invest it, and grow the wealth to a point where that your wealth can start producing passive income for you rather than active income. So, what is the difference between passive income and active income? Active income is the earned income. I go for to work every day, whether I commute or I work from home. I am trading my time for money. I get up, I put in the hours, and I get paid for my expertise and the time that I put in to work either for a company or in however way I'm earning my money. So I'm trading time for money. That is considered earned income or active income. Passive income is when you are earning money even in your sleep. And how would you do that? When you have investments, when you have stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, real estate, uh, other types of businesses. Those are types of investments that can create a passive source of income. And a passive source of income, still you need to monitor it. It's not like you're completely like washing your hands off and saying that's it, I'm done. But obviously it's a lot less work to do than you know going to work every morning and again trading your time with time for money. So the idea for all of us is to shift and hopefully get to a point where we can shift majority of our income coming from passive sources as opposed to active sources. Um, and the last step I wanted to talk about is again tracking your finances. This is really important. I can't tell you how often I talk to clients and they have no idea how much money they're bringing in, what their monthly expenses are, or what is their net worth, how much are they worth, can they even retire? By the way, the number one question that people ask me, my clients, when they come to me, they ask me is the question is, what is my number? They ask me, what is my number? What does that mean? What is my number? And what that means is most of us are always curious and concerned about what do I need to do? At what point do I get to what point where I don't have to worry about earning income, that I can stop working and I can support myself for the rest of my life so that I don't run out of money? So when people come to me and they ask me, what is my number? What they really mean by that is how much money do I have to save and how much do I take out of my savings so that I don't run out of money? And we're talking about now perpetual income. We're talking about creating a perpetual source of income. So tracking your finances is extremely important. Always knowing where you are financially, keeping an eye on expenses and cash flow, of course. And of course, the number one rule of financial well being is spending below your means, spending less than what you earn. So that's all I had for today. I do have an amazing money personality tracker. It's an assessment. It actually it assesses your not only your relationship with money but also your stress levels with money and what causes your stress. It's the money stress eliminator assessment. I have a QR code here. So for those of you who are interested, if you click on a QR code, or you can go to our website, which is www.accelerationcircle.com. That's the name of our company. If you go to our website, the the cash flow stress eliminator assessment is on the website, or by clicking on the QR code. It's free. It's complimentary to those of you who are listening to this. And if if you go ahead and go to the assessment, for the first 20 people, because I cannot do it all, but for the first 20 of you who do the assessment, I will personally review the results with you and help you come up with a concrete plan of either reducing your expenses or increasing your cash flow or combining the two together, doing both at the same time. So, Sunshine, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me as a speaker. I would love to take some questions. Maybe someday we'll be able to do that, or maybe people can send us questions in. If you do want to get a hold of me, like I said, my social handles are um, on Instagram and on many other social media. It's get skills with Anna Bruno. That's my social handle, and our company website is www.accelerationcircle.com. Thank you very much
Awesome.
again, and look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna, for the broadcast and for sharing about money management and ways to be able to also increase wealth. The best thing about I love that you shared about is about budgeting and being able to know, the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. And it seems like that's almost like the first starting point before you can even build wealth to be able to know that. That being said, I think it's a great offer that you're giving right now for the first 20 people to be able to actually be able to connect to you. We will, if you're a member or in the network, we have put it inside of the groups so you can be able to take advantage of that offer. And we also send it out to you via email and also through Messenger if you're already part of the network. If you're not, you want to plug in just by going to our Market Her Brand. We have two groups. And also we have my page, Sunshine Fullerwine, and Anna Bruno also has her own page. I don't know if you shared that with them for them to be able to also go to.
So my pages are, as I said, it's Get Skills with Anna Bruno on the social media platforms, and our website is accelerationcircle.com.
Awesome. So if y'all go there, you should be able to plug in and get the necessary resource that you need so you can continue to expand. And as far as questions, as she stated, she is open to the questions. We don't have time on broadcast to answer all the questions, but if you can, just go ahead and connect with her, me, or the network and put the questions there. And I'm sure Anna will reach back to you to be able to get those questions answered. That being said, we're going to get prepared for our next broadcast. Anna, we want to say thank you so much for delivering this message, for delivering the value. We will get it out to the network. So hopefully your email is flooded with lots of questions.
Thank
Until
you.
that being said, we want to say everybody, thank you so much for attending. Thank you for those that are going to listen to the broadcast later. We look for this is going to be a tour that's going from September all the way to December. And we have so many women that are going to be coming on here, business owners, to be able to provide you a lot of value and resources. Please check out our website at marketherbrand.com to stay in tune. And again, to next time, thank you for coming on, and thank you, Anna, for presenting. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Everybody have a great night.
You too. Bye bye.